Good morning and welcome to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Wednesday edition here on the program. We're glad you're along for the ride. Remember, if you want to check us out, you can watch us live on Facebook Live, Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Before we get to our guest, there was a piece. There's not a whole lot going on in the world of sports, but if you want to go a good read on ESPN.com by Chris Lowe, it talks about what if Steve Spurrier would have gone to LSU? What if Bob Stoops would have taken the Iowa job? What if Rich Rodriguez had taken the job at Alabama instead of going to Michigan? But it's a pretty good read, so you may want to check that out during your time. But now we're going to go to the Titan MRI hotline, and we're joined by former Gator number 42, Bam Hardman. Bam, welcome to the program. How are you, bud?
I'm doing well, Shane. Glad to be here.
So you're over there in Troy, Alabama. What you doing? Spend your time right now during this coronavirus?
Oh man, it's a crazy time, as you know, right now. But most of it is just spent trying to talk to my current players, just staying up on them, staying updated as far as from an academic standpoint, football, and then just recruiting. Man, still got to stay on the recruits from the high school level. Got to make sure we're watching film, getting to know them better, their families, and just trying to stay ahead on that side because we're hoping that I'm sure football will continue at some point, but just don't quite know when.
Exactly. We're speaking with Bam Hardman, former Gator linebacker, now defensive coach there for the Troy Trojans at Troy University. Bam, let's look back at your career. You grew up in the Jacksonville area. You attend Ed White High School, a tremendous player there. What coach from the University of Florida was responsible for your recruitment to come there? And what other schools did you entertain or take visits to?
All right. So the coach that recruited me was Jim Collins. And then I also had a part with Spurrier Jr. I think he had just left to go to Oklahoma with Stoops at that time. But Jim Collins was a big part of the recruiting process. And as far as the schools that I visited, I took all 5 of my visits, which was Virginia, which was one of the years that they probably had their best season. Went to North Carolina as well. I was a big Dre Bly fan at the time, and they had some success, as well as Tennessee. That was the year they won the national title, so I took a visit there. Florida State, and then obviously Florida. So decided to go to Florida, man. It was a great place for me. Felt at home there. Believe it or not, for you Gator fans, I kind of was a Florida State fan, believe it or not. So I hate to say that on the air, but you know, at the time, I just chose Florida. Felt real comfortable there. Jim Collins again was a big part of that, along with Spurrier Jr. And then just Spurrier himself. It really felt like home for me.
Your high school coach was a guy named Dan Dish, who eventually was hired by Ron Zook when he got the job. What kind of coach was he playing for? Did you enjoy playing for him? Was he a hard-nosed kind of guy? Because I know y'all have a really good relationship.
Yeah, my man Dish Dog is what they call him. And kudos to him. He actually had a Florida Gator, I guess, there for, 12 years in a row between myself, Cheston Blackshear, who was there right before I got there, and then D. Webb came right as I left. So kudos to him. But great coach, players coach, as far as you could talk to him about anything. He'll get in your butt when need to as well, but he's all about competing and winning. And he brought just a different atmosphere to Ed White when I got there. And, it was all about the Lemonheads and going out, being disciplined about attacking guys and being physical.
We're speaking with Bam Hardman on the Titan MRI hotline from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios. Got a text here on the Titan MRI text line. It comes from Jack. Jack wants to know, give us the story of how you got the nickname Bam Bam.
Well, it started it started before high school, more around the middle school level, but then it really took off in high school when I was in the 9th grade. I was one of those guys who started out playing JV and then moved up quickly to varsity, and those guys didn't quite know my name, and I was kind of, I guess, making a name for myself more or less on the field. And they just started with Bam Bam. It was a guy, Theo Hicks, man, believe it or not. And then it took off from those older guys. They really took me underneath their wing, and we had some success there. And they taught me how to be an Ed White commander at the time. And man, like I say, Dish was really big in everything that he did there as well.
When you look back at your Gator career, obviously you were on some great teams. You played 3 years under Coach Spurrier, your final year under Ron Zook. Talk a little bit about, they talk about the great teams in the University of Florida, obviously the 96, the 06 and 08, the national championship teams. But you were part of Coach Spurrier's last team in 01, which I think ended up ranked third in the country. That team, a lot of people don't realize it, but it may have been the dang best team we possibly had that didn't win a national title. Talk a little bit about that 01 team.
Oh, man, that was a great team. Like you said, probably the best team that never did anything as I look back at it. Had a lot of great athletes. We were just talking about it the other day. Had a lot of good athletes that had a chance at the next level, at the NFL level and everything, that had great careers. But it was probably the best team that never did anything. I hate to say it, but that was the year of 9/11 where I think it affected our season as well as it affected the nation as well. But that was the year that 9/11 happened right before that Tennessee game. And so they postponed it, and we played it at the end of the year, where at that point, it's whoever won that game was going to the SEC championship game. Well, if we would have played it early on, they actually had quite a few key players injured. Had Big John Henderson injured and Dante Starworth, along with some other key guys. And so I never won to wish bad upon players or anything, but 4 quarters of being injured, I'll take that any day. So later on, they came and they showed up, and we didn't later on in the season. And so they got a chance to move on, and we just went to a bowl game that year. But it was the best team that had no accolades, I guess you can say.
We're speaking with Bam Harmon. Bam, your senior year, you won the Fergie Ferguson Award, which is recognized as the senior football player displays outstanding leadership, character, and courage. What did it mean to win that award playing here at the University of Florida?
It was a great thing. You just look at some of the guys that received that award before me. But this, just as I went through my career and playing there in Florida, it's not something that you look to get, but yet you just try to put in the work and those things that come along with it. But at the banquet, Coach, like I say, Ron Zook was the guy that was my head coach my senior year. And so just to win that award, it meant a lot with my family being there at the banquet as well. And that's something that I do cherish and I appreciate a lot, because it comes from, your teammates and those guys that have the vote. So I really appreciate that.
Got a text here on the Titan MR text line from Fred. Fred wants to know, being from Jacksonville, how special was it to play Georgia in the Gator Bowl?
Awesome thing. I mean, that's home. That's my home field, to be honest with you. Never lost against Georgia. We're undefeated there in my 4 years of being there. So it was just a great place. A lot of family members for me there, and you coming over the bridge and you're seeing all the orange and blue, the tailgate, and then the Georgia, that Georgia color as well. I had a few Georgia friends, so they would always give me flap about that. But let's just say I'm undefeated against the Georgia Bulldogs.
Me and you both, partner. What was like your, the Swamp is a great place to play in. Obviously, one of the best venues in all of college football. But as a college player, what stadium did you really enjoy going to play? I tell these people all the time, Bam. When Coach Spurrier was here, he coached with that swagger. And he had no problem going into an opposing stadium and putting 40 or 50 on you and just seeing the stadium empty. He just got he loved that. What stadium did you enjoy going, and you fed off the energy of that crowd?
I tell you, I believe a lot of my teammates would say the same thing, but the Tennessee Volunteer Stadium, I mean, that was, at the time, I'm not sure what they seat right now, but I think about 118 or something. some 100 in the teams, I know, but to see all the orange and white that they have and just to silence those guys, I mean, is an awesome feeling. They get the stadium rocking and rolling there, but that's a great atmosphere that they have there. But to go in, and like you say, with Spurrier taking that swagger and us just getting in there and really just silencing the crowd, is a great feeling. We had that game where it was, I guess, a controversial catch with Jabbar Gaffney that year, and it came down to the wire. And so that was a great atmosphere there, and just to be there and be a part of that, man, it was awesome.
Jim texts on the Titan MR text line. He wants to know, what was the biggest difference between Spurrier and Zook from a coaching standpoint?
Well, if you just think about it, really, is if you mention, with Spurrier being an offensive-minded guy and Zook being a defensive-minded guy, you can just think about the possible personalities that come with it. And then Spurrier is more of a, hey guys, let's go. And he kind of beats, he marches to the band of his own drum, and he's, hey, just let's move around. Where Zook, he's pretty fiery. And I remember him coming in. He was like, hey, if you don't know where you're going, just run somewhere. I'm like, well, what does that mean? And it just talks about, if you don't know where you're going, just run somewhere at practice. But he's just a high-paced guy compared to Spurrier. He's really, not slow, but just, hey, let's do things and do as you may, and let's just get it done as long as you're getting it done. Where Zook is really, real fiery, and he's like, hey, run somewhere. You don't know where you're going, let's run somewhere.
Bam, we're speaking with Bam Hardman on the Titan MR hotline. Bam, after your Florida playing days, you played a little pro ball here and there, and then you decide to get into coaching, and you become a graduate assistant at Illinois with Zook. And I want to say Dan Dish was on that staff as well. You got your master's there at Illinois. Did you always want to be a college football coach?
I did not, Shane. I did not think about doing that, but it's something that man up above had in my path and place for me. And so Zook and Dish was a big part of me going over to Illinois. He called me up, and it was at a time when I was released and had just come off an injury from NFL Europe at the time, and was bouncing back in hopes of getting back at the NFL level. And he called me, hey, would you think about it? Would you like to be a graduate assistant and getting into coaching? And I'm like, I thought about it and prayed about it. And at the time, I was actually coming up on my 1-year anniversary. And so to talk it over with the wife, and hey, we jumped on board with it and been in it ever since, man. It's been a joy for me. I've been over at Illinois just learning the ropes of being under Ron Zook and Dish and those guys, and had some other great coaches, Big Coning, Paul Petrino, who were all there, along with Mallory. And so it was some great coaches there that helped me in becoming a college coach. And I'm sure that led up to me being here at Troy with the Troy University.
Yeah, we got a text here. They want to know, you're a college football coach. What did you learn from Steve Spurrier to make you a better coach?
Well, I think learning from him, what you'll learn is, hey, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat.
No doubt.
As a player, for me at least, I'll say, you go in, I'm a very coachable kid. And so, hey, whatever the coach tells you to do, I'm going to do it. And at the time, all I know is the Florida Gators. And so just to go in there and let's just say inside drill, everybody know the inside drill, which just basically pertains to the front seven or so, front eight guys in a team atmosphere from a defensive perspective. And to go into that inside period and he's running bootlegs, and at the time I'm like, well, okay, is it really inside drill? And then I go to, actually be a college coach. And now inside drill is more focused on just running the ball inside and different things like that. But, with Spurrier, hey, it's a lot of ways to skin a cat. And so he helped me in that development part of things. But as a player, you don't see as much behind the scenes as you do once you actually become and get on that side of things, to be honest with you.
Well, you speaking of that inside drill, when I got into high school coaching, I did the same thing, Bam, because you guys on the defense cheat during that drill. So you got to run some bootlegs and stuff because y'all are cheating the drill.
Yeah, I learned afterwards kind of why you do that. I must say, at the time though, I'm more or less like, hey, it's just a condensed way to run a team type drill, and but at the time, I don't think it was really called either inside drill for Spurrier, so I'm not sure, but we definitely got a few bootlegs. I remember Aaron Walker just coming across, big Aaron Kenny as well, man. We had some nice tight ends that would come across just to throw a bootleg in the mix, so we can, as defensive guys, not just attack the run as much.
Yeah. Cold Stone Creamery has 2 convenient Gainesville locations serving the ultimate ice cream experience. Super premium ice cream shakes and cakes customized just for you. Also, your birthday cake headquarters. Check them out at Cold Stone Creamery. We're speaking with Bam Hardman, number 42 for the Florida Gators. Had a tremendous career here. Bam, what would you say? We're going to get back to your coaching here in just a second, but what would you say is the best moment you had as a Florida Gator football player?
Oh man, it's a lot of great moments. I tell you, just with the fans that are there. I tell you, we have a great fan atmosphere, great fan base. But one of my, I guess, moments that I remember would be that Florida Georgia game, going in there, and I think it was the 2000 season. I had a chance to get an interception to help solidify the win that year. Got a game ball and everything, so that was a great time there. I know we lost the game, but playing the SEC championship game versus Alabama that year, Sean Alexander, that was one of the years when I was a freshman, just a young pup, still wet behind the ears, but had a key role in that game. And, I actually missed the tackle, but had a big hit on Freddie Millens, who was a great player there at Alabama. So that's a game I remember. And then another SEC championship game when we won against Auburn that following year. I know I'm kind of scattering all over the place, but really some great games that I remember, some great moments that I had there at Florida. And I mean, just an awesome place.
We got a Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorneys. It comes from no other than number 3, Lito Shepherd. He says, "Good morning, guys."
That's my guy. That's my guy. Me and Lito go way back, man. We played high school ball, believe it or not, at Ed White. He started out at Ed White in 9th grade, and then he decided to go over the reins, and we had some great, fights or games against him his junior and senior year. So he and I go way back, and then we're college roommates in our weddings together and different things as well, man. So great guy. Love that dude.
So you were a graduate assistant at Illinois, then you move on. You coached, as you said, at Idaho, Charleston Southern. I want to say, when you were at Charleston Southern, were you on the staff when they came and played Florida in the Swamp?
No, I was not. I was not at Charleston Southern, but believe it or not, I was at Idaho when they played, when we're supposed to play the Florida Gators.
That's when the lightning came and it rained
like
crazy, right? I remember that game.
Yeah, we had a 3-hour delay, so we had a game when you look at the time standpoint of how long it took, but yet we didn't actually play on the field, so we got one kickoff. And they took it back about 70 yards. And if they would have scored that game, I guess we would have actually lost. So I can say that, I came out a winner being at Idaho and playing against the Gators, believe it or not.
Well, the reason I brought that up was because as a former player and spending so much time and running out of that tunnel, there's no other feeling like that. What was it like being on the opposing sideline and, during pregame warm-up, you're used to, how it goes in the Swamp? I mean, what was that feeling like?
I guess I can really say I know what it felt to be like Gator bait at that time. I mean, you hear everybody rooting, but it's not quite for you. But yet, you know that your veins bleed orange and blue. But just to see it from that perspective of things coming in from the other tunnel and being on that side of things is something that it's definitely memorable, but yet I'm not a fan of being in that position all the time. I tell you that.
Yeah, Lito chimes in on a Facebook Live brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorneys. He says he could never beat me, so he just joined me at Florida.
Hey, that dude better shut up, first of all, okay? Because I think they cheated. But great player, man. It was our senior year, and I was talking about it the other day. We had a lot of good talent on that team. I mean, I think just his senior year, he had maybe 5, 6 guys that went Power Five, and then on my team at Ed White, we had 4 guys that went Power Five, and that's just Power Five, SEC, and Big Ten. But we had some other guys that went FBS at that time, I mean FCS at that time, and D2 and different things. And not only that, but some of the juniors that went Power Five. So a lot of talent on that field. Dish and those guys, Coach Coffee. Kudos to him over at Reigns. He was able to get it done as well. But some really good friends off of that team. We still compete and talk about it all the time.
Yeah, we're speaking with Bam Harmon on the Titan MRI hotline. We'll be joined by Ed Chester a little bit later in the program. A couple more things here, Bam, and we really appreciate your time. Coaching at Troy's one of those teams that a lot of the big boys don't like to play. And Troy in the last couple of years have upset, LSU in Tiger Stadium, beat Nebraska and Lincoln. What's it like when you're the underdog, but I guess not so much from you as a coach, but for your kids, because all these kids that play at the Troys, the South Alabamas, those type schools, they're really good players, but for whatever reason, they may not have been tall enough or big enough or fast enough to play SEC type football. What's it like? Do they go into these games with a chip on their shoulder?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, it's going in, being that little brother who now is 18 years old, and you get a chance to find it, or maybe even older, getting a chance to play your brother who's maybe, more polished, bigger and everything, but your skill level and different things, and you just got a bigger heart at the time. And so to go in there and do that is big. But a lot of times, we as coaches, we tell those guys, hey, you can have nothing to lose. They put on their cleats the same way you put on yours. They may have more athletes most often, bigger athletes or something at the time. But man, there's some really good group of 5 schools or smaller schools that can really compete with some of those Power 5 type schools as well. But we have had some success, like you talk about going to LSU. I think probably after we at Troy beat LSU that game, they really went on a roll, and they, like you say, they had a really nice season this past season, but they went on a roll really since we beat those guys over there.
We got a Facebook Live comment brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorneys. Rick on Facebook Live says, make sure you say hello to Luke Whittemore when he gets back into Troy, Alabama.
Luke Whittemore.
Local kid from Buchholz here that I got to coach. Tremendous kid, tremendous player, comes from a great family. Last thing before we let you go, Bam, everybody always wants to hear these. You got to have a good head ball coach story for us.
Oh man, so I guess you gotta give something that's appropriate for the situation. It just, I know, right? Because you always have some great moments, but I guess one would be, so not sure what time of year it was, but we're getting ready to head out to practice. So we're in the locker room, everybody's heading out, and the setup of where the locker room is. They're Shane, and you don't really have any windows or anything. So as we're starting to head out, there's no really sense of urgency for guys to get out onto the field. And so the word kind of gets around the locker room and in the training room that, hey, practice postponed and delayed and everything. We're like, man, what's going on? It's not storming outside. Not when we came in. It's not storming, not raining or anything. Because that'd be some of the reasons that practice would be, postponed. And so as we kind of just linger around the locker room and things, guys start working outside now. It's kind of got the green light to head outside. And now we're out on the field. And like I say, it's sunshine, no issues there. And so as we get out now, Coach Spurrier ends up coming on the field. And all right, guys, let's go, Rob, guys, let's go. So we get into the stretch line. So come to find out, all right, Coach Spurrier was in there watching golf, and I guess it was in the middle of a really good match. And so let's just say practice kind of got canceled a little bit. And as you know, that's a really good head ball coach type call for him, because he's a
No
great
doubt.
golf guy, and and like you say, you million ways to skin a cat, and as long as you get the work in, hey, why not enjoy life? But great guy, man, great coach. He's helped me out a lot with just the Gator family itself, but great coach, man.
Yeah, he's one of a kind. Well, Bam, we're glad you and your family are safe over there, buddy. We'll be waiting to watch the Troy Trojans when football kicks off. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon, and appreciate you joining the show.
No doubt. Go Trojans and go Gators, no doubt about it. You guys be blessed, man.
All right, that's Bam Hardman, number 42, joining us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take our first time out of the program right here. When we come back, we'll be joined by former Gator Ed Chester. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Area Rug Masters, your #1 choice for rug cleaning. And Pound Hurt, preferred personal injury attorneys.
Our touchdown sponsors are Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, The Keys Grill and Piano Bar, UF Mover Guys, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Cloud9 Spa, Cold Stone Creamery, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Center State Bank.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the advertise button or call Freddie Wiebe at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
He's looking, still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown!
In the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We appreciate Bam Hardman for joining the program. And hey, folks, Celebration Point is where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Medici's, Regal Cinemas, and coming soon, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators come to celebrate. We're going to go back to the Titan MRI hotline, and we're joined by former Gator defensive tackle Ed Chester. Ed, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Doing wonderful. We appreciate you taking your time. You're down in the St. Pete area as a personal trainer. Let everybody know what you're doing down there. And obviously not able to train people right now, but how's that going?
Yeah, I'm down in St. Pete. Been here for, close to 15 years now, 14 years. And love it down here. Been personal training since I moved down here. We are currently closed due to virus prevention measures, but I'm still training people out in the park and sending home workouts and training via Zoom.
Well, looking at you in your high school yesterday, our media folks post stuff promoting who's coming on, and Spring Hill, where you're from, the high school there, said Ed is one of the best to ever wear the red, white, and blue. You were a four-sport athlete down there: basketball, football, weightlifting, and track. How's your hoop game? Pretty good hoop game for a big defensive lineman?
I probably played more basketball than football in high school. So, yeah, I was pretty good. Had to stop in college because coach didn't really like us playing basketball that much. But, yeah, I definitely had a decent game.
Well, that's pretty good. Anytime a big defensive lineman is athletic and can play basketball, that's a huge asset. Okay, so look back at your Florida career. You're coming out of high school, you're all-state, this, that, and the other, being highly touted by a bunch of universities. What coach I ask all the athletes this: who was the coach that was very instrumental in recruiting you to the University of Florida, and what other schools out there did you think about going to?
Oh, okay. Well, as far as coming to Florida, I mean, having Coach Spurrier visit and talk to him was just an instant winner once I got to campus, and even before that. So, I mean, every coach I met, I hate to say this, but every coach I met was, just made me feel at home when I got there. So it was an easy decision for me to come someplace that I felt so much at home. And to, John Reeves is probably the biggest influence, though.
Okay.
He the one that directly recruited me, and he got along so well with my parents and me. It was just, like having someone I knew for forever when he came to visit and talk to us. But as far as schools I considered before Florida, I actually had committed to Georgia before visiting Florida. And it wasn't a difficult decision once I visited Florida to have to call and take that commitment back from Georgia.
Gotcha. Well, you were on some tremendous football teams here at the University of Florida, here from 94 through 98. Obviously played for a national title against Nebraska in 95 and then won the national title in 96. Talk a little bit about a lot of people don't realize, because we didn't win the national title in 95, but that could have been the best team Florida's ever put out on the field. Talk a little bit about that 95 team and playing the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Man, that team was amazing. To have the athletes that we did, I mean, Kevin Carter, as far as defensive linemen, Henry McMillan, Kevin Carter was playing when I was there. Mark Campbell, all those guys had a great chance to learn from. But that team was amazing in 95. And, we just came up against a team in Nebraska that, was firing on all cylinders that day. And, Nebraska that day might have beat some pro teams. But it was a great learning experience to be on that team, to basically run through everybody on the way to the national championship game, and then play one of the best teams ever in Nebraska. And, to learn, that game taught us a lot. And we learned a lot, and we got better because of it. And I don't know if we would have won the following year if we hadn't played Nebraska and that been a result. They were a great team, but we learned a lot and we got better from it.
When you look at the 96 team winning the national title, obviously the previous year, there's a new defensive coordinator, this guy named Bob Stoops comes in. Coach Spurrier hires him from Kansas State. I had Coach Stoops on a couple shows ago. Talk a little bit about the mentality and what he brought to the table that really got this defense going for the 96 year. Man,
the don't take a step back mentality. We give the opposing offense nothing. Was the mentality that he instilled, and to attack. I always wonder what we would have been like if we had the athletes from the previous year, how we would have fared against Nebraska if he had been our defensive coordinator, just because of the attitude he brought. He didn't take any crap from anybody. A couple of the upperclassmen tried to challenge his authority, and he ended that quickly. And but Coach Stoops brought a great attitude, a great competitive attitude, and we love the fact of go get it. Don't take a step back, attack.
We got a text here on the Titan Mark text line. It comes from Johnny. Johnny says, you were an All-American, All-SEC in college, won a national title, won 3 SEC titles. You were All-State in high school. What's your top achievement?
Oh, my gosh.
All of the above?
In all honesty, that national championship, just because of what it meant and what you had to suffer to get through it. It's so hard to win one. And it means so much, and you sacrifice so much throughout the year. To have that come together and all your sacrifice be worth it, that is by far the best.
We got another text here. It comes from Joseph. Joseph wants to know, who was the best offensive lineman that you faced during your college career?
Oh, man. There was a couple offensive tackles that hurt my feelings a couple times, but I don't know I also don't know the guy's name. He played for Mississippi State, believe it or not. And this guy, he made my life a little miserable that day. He was an unbelievable guard, and I have to say that guy. We had a bunch of good linemen we played, but by far that guy gave me fits that day. And I wish I knew his name because I'd like to shake his hand, but I don't remember it.
When you look at your career, Ed, obviously we're speaking with Ed Chester on the Titan MRI hotline. If you got a text, send it to us, 352-353-7465. You can also send us a Facebook Live comment or question. It was a devastating injury against LSU. You had a bright future at the next level. You were smart enough, and someone convinced you to take out a Lloyd's of London insurance policy. Talk a little bit about, the injury. I'm sure it's tough to talk about. And if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But, first of all, who convinced you to do a Lloyd's of London policy? And you were very smart to do that. But just talk about that injury against LSU.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's not difficult to talk about. In all honesty, I came to terms with it that night. Lord puts everything in perspective for me, and I understood it was his plan, and I'm good with it. So Coach Rod Broadway, who I give everything to, he was our defensive line coach, amazing guy. He actually told me to get one, and I was a typical stupid college kid. I was like, yeah, I'll get it. And I just kind of blew it off. And I came in the next day and he's like, did you get it? I was like, no. He threatened me. He's like, go get it now or I'm going to kill you. I was like, okay. So I went and got it set up, and basically forgot about it. And thank goodness for him that, that he actually pushed me to get it, because it definitely allowed me to do a lot of things in life that I would not have been able to do without it.
Yeah. So was your injury, I'm not sure if you follow college football, but Mackenzie Milton, the quarterback from UCF a couple of years ago, it was ACL, dislocation of the knee. I don't know if you're familiar with his injury, but was it very similar to that?
It was similar. Someone else had brought it up to me and said that basically he had the same thing I did. Not sure about the nerve damage aspect of it, but the actual injury itself, they said was the same thing.
Now, do you have any issues with that knee? Like when you're working out people, or do you still work out? Does it give you problems?
Yeah. Well, my main thing with the knee is I have nerve damage from the injury. So my right foot, I really have no movement in it. I've had a couple surgeries so I can enjoy life, and do a lot of things without wearing a brace. But as far as pain, yes, it's there, but I can't say I complain about it. It's part of life. It's what we do. We're all football players understand we have aches and pains from the game, but it doesn't hinder me too much.
Donnie sends a text on the Titan MR text line. Wants to know, Ed, what was your favorite game as a Gator?
Oh man, there's a long list of those. I would have to say we beat FSU in the Swamp. The excitement level of that game when Dwayne Thomas has that interception at the end of the game, just everybody was exhausted. It was a back and forth battle. We had to come back, and then for the defense to shut the door on them at home was just amazing.
All right. Well, after you graduated from the University of Florida, you served as a counselor for the Northwest Boys and Girls Clubs of Alachua County for several years. You made a huge impact and a difference in these kids' lives. Keith Blanchard from the Boys and Girls Club mentioned on social media the other day that you gave your heart and soul to this job. Talk a little bit about that experience and what it meant to you.
Oh, man. That's one of the blessings of the injury, because I would have never gone there without it. The experience of the Boys and Girls Club, those kids made as much impact on me as I think I did on them. To be able to watch some of them watch them grow up. And now I get phone calls, hey, Ed, I'm having my first child, sending me pictures of their families. To this day, I'm in contact with those kids, and to see how they change, police officers and stuff, and just becoming great people and having a small part in that development, it was amazing. And to learn from them and grow myself through working with them was just a tremendous blessing.
At CenterState Bank, we put business first. We are the largest community bank in the state of Florida. CenterState has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Come in and experience the CenterState difference. To learn more, visit centerstatebank.com. CenterState Bank, member FDIC. We're speaking with former Gator defensive lineman Ed Chester on the Titan MR hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System studio. Ed, people always ask me this as a former player. How much do you stay in contact with some of your former teammates here?
Luckily through social media, we keep contact pretty good with a lot of the fellas. Some of them I see personally on a regular basis. Some I call. But, these guys are family. So just like my regular family, I love to keep in touch with them, make sure that they're well and take care of them. They keep in touch with me, crack jokes. So, yeah, we do our best to keep in touch.
Fred sends a text on the Titan MR hotline. He wants to know, where do you store your 1996 national championship ring?
My mom has it. I think I've worn that thing twice, and then she has it. So my mom and dad have it, and she won't give it back to me, I don't think.
You got to fight her over it, right? We got another text here. This comes from Joe. Joe says, what was the best football team that y'all faced while being a Gator?
Honestly, it would have to be that Nebraska team.
Yeah.
Like I said, those guys might have beat pro teams that year. It was amazing how well that team was run and how they played and how tough they played. And it was an amazing experience to play them.
Ed, when you look at your Gator career, you were a defensive guy. So you weren't around Coach Spurrier like us offensive guys. He was in our meetings, especially as a quarterback. We were with him constantly. Everybody always wants to hear great Coach Spurrier stories. It's a requirement when you're on my show. You got to try to come up with a story that you can tell on air. Do you have any good Coach Spurrier stories?
I like the on air part. Well, I guess this is more embarrassing to me than anything. You get recruited to Florida and for the aspects of, you're a good athlete. And Coach Spurrier goes from town to town, sometimes doing the meetings with the Gator clubs. Well, unfortunately, they had one in Brooksville. And besides the fact that Coach Spurrier and my mom get along really well and cracking jokes on me, Coach Spurrier decides to tell the whole Gator club that the only reason he recruited me was because I had a good-looking mama. So I was like, thanks, Coach.
Oh, boy, that's funny. So you're a personal trainer, okay? So this big defensive lineman, are you training like moms, to get in shape or what have you? Or do you have some athletes, some local high school, middle school kids that you're trying to get better for their high school seasons? Which are you doing? Probably both?
I'm doing all of it. I have a high school athlete that's got a track scholarship. He's going to be attending college next year. I have football players from middle school and high school that I train. I train an 86-year-old guy. I train, a teenager that's playing, just graduated college playing volleyball, to moms that, will never play athletics in their life, but are great athletes and work hard in the gym. So I train every.
So I got to ask you this. You got them pulling sleds like Tootin had you guys pulling sleds?
Oh, my gosh. I would never do that to anybody. Oh, man. We do pull sleds. We have a sled that we pull, and I have one. I just got one that we're going to push and pull now. But I will not torture them like Tootin tortured us.
That's funny. We got a Pound Hurt Facebook Live comment brought to you by Pound Hurt, your preferred business interruption attorneys. Buddy Martin says, Ed Chester was a stud. And yes, you were, my man, number 94 on the defensive line. Anything else you want to let the Gator Nation know what what Ed Chester's doing. Anything else?
Basically, I'm living life and enjoying it in St. Pete. I get to fish easily because the water is easily accessible from here. I have a great family. I'm loving life. Like I said, my injury was truly a blessing because my life went a direction where I am very, very blessed. And, I'm loving life. It's awesome, dude.
Well, we appreciate you joining the program today, buddy. You take care of your family. Y'all stay safe down there. And we'll talk to you soon, Ed.
Thank you. Go Gators, buddy.
All right. That's Ed Chester joining us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We're going to take our last time out of the program. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Area Rug Masters, your #1 choice for rug cleaning. And Pound Hurt, preferred personal injury attorneys.
Our touchdown sponsors are Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, The Keys Grill and Piano Bar, UF Mover Guys, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Cloud9 Spa, Coldstone Creamery, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Center State Bank.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the advertise button or call Freddie Wiebe at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
He's looking, still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Let's get to our This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by Area Rug Masters. Is your whole family stuck at home and trekking in more than usual? Take your rugs to Area Rug Masters for a BOGO rug cleaning. When you mention the code SHANE, call 352-448-5999. This Day in Sports, back in 1965, the National Football League changes the penalty flag from white to bright gold. And I know that's not very exciting, but that is this day in sports. Also, want to make sure people know that Jackie Spreads, who's currently on leave, is brought to you by Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Tomorrow's program is going to have Brent Beard talking college football, a lot of stuff going on there about realignment, expanding the playoffs. He'll fill us in on that. And then we're going to have former Gator linebacker coach Jim Collins, who also coached with Coach Spurrier at Duke, the Redskins, and also the Orlando Apollos. Look forward to that interview. He'll have some great stories for us as well. Let's see. I just want to let people know that Gator Dominoes is serving the Gainesville area for over 50 years. Order your pizza online at GatorDominoes.com or pick it up at any of their 7 Gainesville locations. Today and every day, get a three-topping pizza for only $7.99 when you go and pick it up. Again, we want to thank Bam Hardman, who now coaches at Troy University, does a tremendous job for the Troy Trojans, for joining the program, and also former Gator Ed Chester, who's now a personal trainer in the St. Pete area, for joining us as well. We want to thank you for listening and watching today. And don't forget, if you watch us on Facebook Live, go to our page and like it and follow us. If you want to subscribe, you can also subscribe on YouTube, Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also watch us and listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That's pretty much going to be a wrap for today's program. Again, tomorrow on a Thursday edition, Brent Beard talking college football. When will we have the season? Is it going to start on time or are we going to be delayed? He will give us some information and update us there. Also, former linebacker coach here at the University of Florida, Jim Collins. Appreciate everybody joining the show today. We will see you tomorrow. Stay safe, folks. Take care.